Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I remember. Involve me, and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. Anyone who wants to become a teacher is also agreeing to become a perpetual student, a student that never ceases learning. Melissa's topic actually struck a chord with me a little bit here because my autism does affect certain parts of my communication abilities. And my topic is about the communication field. With autism, some people would think that I cannot communicate as clearly as other people, and I can tell you that many of the classes she discussed were actually classes I took when I was younger. And that was to help integrate me into normal society. So, I really did enjoy your talk, thank you. The three things that I will be talking about in the communication field is my personal interest and a few examples of good communicators and how to improve your own communication skills. First, to tell you about communication, I have to define what communication is. Communication is the exchange of information, whether that be verbal or nonverbal. That is, it is typically a nonverbal effort. According to two studies that were conducted by Albert Moravian in 1967, he is still a professor at a university in California. He found that 7% of communication is verbal and 93% of it is nonverbal, although he, in a book he later wrote, admitted that this is only for certain situations. He says that in a lot of situations it just depends on the specific situation you're in. 55% of that nonverbal communication is your body language, and about 38% of that is your tone. One of the things that I brought in to show for my visual aids is a Team Player Award, which shows that I have worked for and successfully been able to communicate and work with other people. And I received this award last year for working on the Senate, and my friends and my team members and my Senate members, they voted for this award to go to me because they believe that I worked the best with all of them. So I was very honored, and I wanted to give everyone a big hug. But a few great leaders that I can name for you are Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Alexander the Great. Even Hitler was a great leader of his own right. While he did not do good things, he was a great leader. He inspired many, many people to follow in what he said and to believe he was doing the right thing. So even though he may not have used his skills for the better, he was a great leader. Many of the people in the many people are many people in your everyday life are great communicators. For example, one of my best friends listens to comedians all the time, and we listen to our teachers. Teachers have to be able to communicate the information that they are trying to teach us, and the best way to do that is to see if they're getting through. One of the best communicators I've ever seen was a man named Stan Pearson II. He is a motivational comedian, and one of the things that he had us do when we went and saw him, which is the easiest to zoom in?
Right side of that circle. There you go.
Is he had us write down, he gave us each a note card and he had us write down different things that we thought of while he was talking. His talk was called Am I Too Sexy? It was a wonderful talk. I have to say he was my favorite person that I've ever heard speak. And after an hour of listening to him, I was really sad when he was done. What he wanted was he wanted us to write down anything we liked about ourselves. And I didn't realize before this how exactly my confidence had grown from the time I was in high school to the time I went and saw this talk. Because when I was in high school, I never would have wrote any of this. I would have been like, oh, I don't think there's anything really good about me at all. I had no confidence, no self-esteem. I was the one who was like, I gotta hide. But the second thing that I wrote here, my first thing that I thought of that I liked about myself was my eyes. They've always been my favorite feature of myself. But what really surprised me was when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know something? I actually like all of me right now. Right now, I am the person I want to be. And so I surprised even myself when I wrote myself as a second object about myself that I liked. So that wasn't something I ever planned on showing anybody, so there are a couple of errors on here. It doesn't look super beautiful, but you get the picture. The art of communication is the language of leadership. I agree with this statement, and that quote is by James Hughes. I believe that communication is a necessary quality for someone who wants to be a leader to possess. And one of the ways that I want to use that leadership and to use communication to be a leader is to teach others how to do it. And so I brought in my degree from high school. I have been inspired by multiple teachers. I've been inspired by so many people who are great leaders and great communicators. So I brought in my degree. Beautiful, huh? But I brought it in because I want to show that I want to inspire the way they have inspired me. And in my interview, I asked Dave Edwards if I asked him how knowing more about communications affects his day-to-day life and his relationships. And he said that being knowledgeable in how communication works makes you more aware of when you make mistakes and hopefully how to fix them. But even experts in communication still have problems with their relationships and their communication skills. So even when you're an expert, you can expect to still be human. And I am human. I make mistakes, but I hope to be an inspiration to be able to show other people how they can be a better communicator. And in conclusion, now you know why communications interests me, a few good examples of communicators, and how communication affects day-to-day life. And I will end with this quote by Stephen R. Covey, who is the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. Most people listen with the intent to reply. And I hope that you guys listen to me with the intent to understand, instead of, although I wouldn't mind if you replied a little bit with questions. So thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Do you know what kind of specific thing you want to do in communications?
In communications, I have been looking at the different career fields And although I use the example of a communications teacher, I personally am looking at public relations a little more. As I'm researching more and more, I found that public relations, working with the people, is a beautiful path, and I'd like to get better at public speaking because that would probably make it a little easier to work with people. So, and is there another question?
Is working in communications a lucrative career?
I think that working in communications is lucrative in the knowledge that you gain, and that, well, it can be, you can make a very good profit from it. I feel that you could also do it more for the fact that it is a path that works for you. Honestly, I didn't look much at the price or the salary. I didn't really look at that. I just I took an interest in the career when I took a communications class here in South Central, and it stuck with me ever since my first term. So I would like to continue furthering my education in it, and then possibly one day be able to find a job in it.
Thank you.